Welcome back, everybody. The Supreme Court heard two separate arguments today involving the EPA. These cases center on the standard for where litigants can challenge decisions under the Clean Air Act. So let's go to CBS News chief legal correspondent Jan Crawford. It's been a while, Jan. I've wanted to talk to you for quite some time. I feel like you and I helped launch this show. It's nice to have you back to break this down. So
I think I was on your first. I think I was on the first episode with you, Reed.
Right. There needs to be a monument somewhere. Jan and me, maybe down at Subway Sandwich where we can have lunch. Break down this EPA conversation for me, my friend.
Well, you know, this is one of the many types of cases that the Supreme Court decides that we don't really talk about because it's very technical. It's hugely important to the lawyers who are challenging decisions, where these cases are going to go, what courts they're going to be in. But for the rest of us, these are the technical things that day in and day out the Supreme Court spends most of its time on. So, you know, this one was, as you said, where you can challenge some of these decisions. Can you challenge them here at the Federal Appeals Court in D.C.? That's kind of what the EPA is arguing. Or can you go to your regional courts and file it there, those challenges? So again, hugely important jurisdictional issues for the lawyers involved and the companies who may not like some of the decisions that the EPA is handing down under the Clean Air Act. But again, it's kind of one of those cases that we don't talk about so much. And why are we even bringing this up? Because you know what, Reed? It's important to remember that the Supreme Court doesn't always decide things 6-3, conservative, liberal, divisive, and those are often the cases that we focus on. But on these technical cases, these are the ones where you get some weird combinations of justices, and that's really so much of what they do day in and day out.
Well, and that can make news in and of itself, right? Switching gears now, There's this other case based on voting rights out of the state of Louisiana. We're talking about those redistricting map conversations. What are you seeing out of that?
You know, this is a case that has been bouncing around the courts for years. Louisiana had a map, and it was challenged in the courts. And then the courts said, you know, this map is bad. You need to add another district that's majority minority, so you can have a black representative, another black representative in the state of Louisiana. So Louisiana said, okay, fine, we're going to do that. So they finally redrew this map. They added that second district, and then guess what happened? Non-black people, is how they refer to themselves, sued, saying that map violated the Constitution because it focuses too much on race. So we had Louisiana in the Supreme Court yesterday going, we don't even want to be here. We're happy now. We added that second minority district, and we're happy. We've got it. Look, see there, you see it's all kind of squiggly, that long line, like a sash across the state of Louisiana. But they said we didn't do that for race. We did that because we wanted to protect our incumbents, like the Speaker of the House and another Congresswoman, Letlow. And so they had a non-racial reason for doing it. They're defending this map. And the reason this case has gotten a lot of attention beyond Louisiana is because anytime the court hears cases on the Voting Rights Act, people who support that worry they're going to chip away at some of the protections. I did not have the sense from these arguments yesterday that the justices were eager to use this case to make some grand statement on the Voting Rights Act, Reed.
Okay, so from briefs to brackets and a mom's bragging rights. Jan Crawford, tell us about your daughter. We're so excited to talk a little bit more. We're putting aside these things that are heady, and we're really getting into basketball and brackets here. Top seed set in Women's Sweet 16 tournament, and we're just so proud of your connection to that.
Reed, you know I love to talk about the courts, whether it's the Supreme Court or the basketball court. No, I mean, it's just March Madness is a tremendous experience for all of these athletes, some of whom go to mid-major schools like my daughter, George Mason, in Virginia, Mason Nation, and they won their conference tournament, the Atlantic 10, which gave them a bid to March Madness. So one of 64 teams that got to participate in that experience. I was in Baton Rouge this weekend cheering on Mason Nation as they played Florida State. We lost, unfortunately, but just to kind of see all that hard work paying off for these kids, not only at Mason Nation, at George Mason, but all these schools, it's a tremendous experience. And, I'm just so proud of them and their head coach who's turned that program around in 4 years. It's just been a great experience. Women's sports is awesome, and women's basketball, to me, is about as good as it gets, Reed.
It is, and we're so glad to finally see it getting recognized and getting the dues it is due, and also seeing the ticket sales. Now I just say, pay them. pay them a little bit more, right? Jan Crawford, thank you so much for talking to us. I'm going to be calling you for parenting advice because I know you poured a lot into that daughter of yours. Have a great day, my friend.
Work hard, be disciplined, and follow your dreams, baby.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. From briefs to basketball brackets, and there you go, using the word baby. I've cashed in all my alliteration. Thank you, Jan.